What is up, folks, and welcome to the BJT show where I talk about sports, media, entertainment, and such things. I'm your host, Byron, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking about Philadelphia Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter spinning on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. So, bit of a background, a little bit of some context. It's week one of the 2025 NFL regular season. It's an NFC matchup. Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles at Philadelphia. Pretty big game, a lot of hype around this game. People are like, okay, how are the Dallas Cowboys going to do without Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott being back in the lineup? Micah's gone. Dak is healthy again. How are they going to do? How's the offense going to do? How's the defense going to do without Micah? What's going on? All that great stuff. And then for the Eagles, it's are they going to have a Super Bowl hangover? Or are they going to have some sort of a Super Bowl slump and everything like that? And just a lot of hype surrounding the game. So they also revealed their banner for the Super Bowl that they won, actually, too. So before the game even really gets going, the Dallas Cowboys were huddled up. Dak Prescott and all of them were huddled up in their offensive huddle, and the Philadelphia Eagles were lining up, getting ready on defense. And Jalen Carter walks up to Dak Prescott, and they're kind of talking trash a little bit, back and forth, whatever. And Jalen Carter spits on Dak Prescott. He spit on Dak Prescott, and he got ejected from the game. They kicked him out of the game. And I was honestly surprised that he did that. And props to Dak for not reacting and starting a brawl and all that type of stuff, but it was just ridiculous. And even some of the commentators were saying, yeah, he spit on Dak Prescott, but he may as well have spit on the entire Philadelphia Eagles team, the front office, and people like that, and basically saying, you know, you hurt your team. You hurt your team. And it did hurt the Philadelphia Eagles a bit. Now, currently, at the time of me recording this episode or this reaction or whatever and giving my takes, they were in a weather delay, but the game is going to resume at 11:30. It's like 11:15 p.m. right now. But I was just appalled by it. I was appalled, and it hurt their team. And the reason why I say it hurt their team, because even some analysts were saying that the Dallas Cowboys were sort of planning their offense around Jalen Carter, being that Jalen Carter is such a dominant player. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league, if not the best defensive tackle. And now that Jalen Carter wasn't on the field, the Dallas Cowboys were kind of running all over the Philadelphia Eagles in a way. And the Philadelphia Eagles have a really good defense, but the Dallas Cowboys running all over them. I think Javonte Williams had 2 touchdowns in the game. Miles Sanders was playing pretty well. He did fumble, but he was playing pretty well, getting a good amount of yards. And the Eagles' defense just wasn't looking the best, at least in terms of the run game. So it did hurt their team. Jalen Carter not being out there hurt their team. They would be better on the field with Jalen Carter, in my opinion. But again, he got ejected from the game, and he wasn't there, and it hurt the team. And my reaction to this is it's not good. And I'm not necessarily a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not my favorite football team in the NFL, but I'm a fan of good football. And the Philadelphia Eagles play some good football. They won the Super Bowl last season or this past year for 2024 to 2025. They're a really good football team. And I am a fan of individual players on their team, such as Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, and others. There's a few more players on the team that I like too. AJ Brown. AJ Brown seems really cool, laid back, whatever. I'm a fan of some of their players, right? And I know that Philadelphia Eagles have a lot of fans. They're some of the best fans in the NFL, and some people call them not so great fans if you're an opposing team or an opposing fan. But all in all, the Philadelphia's fans bring a lot of hype and a lot of energy, and they really root for their team. People can say what they want about them, whatever, but that's that. And I think you can be a fan of someone or admire someone. It could be a professional athlete, it could be an artist, a musician, actor, whatever. I think that you can be a fan of someone or admire someone and can still point out when they're wrong. And to me, Jalen Carter was wrong. He was wrong for spitting on Dak Prescott. It was just wrong. Wrong, uncalled for, unnecessary, just not a good look. And I think Jalen Carter is a really good player, very talented player. But on that one, he was wrong. And people talked about Jalen Carter's quote unquote character concerns coming out of the University of Georgia. And even though he had those quote unquote character concerns, as they say, he was still drafted in the first round. Still drafted in the first round. Really talented player. Yes, he had some situations at the University of Georgia that really affected a lot of people, and just a lot of stuff was going on. But again, the Philadelphia Eagles still drafted him in the first round when they drafted him a few years ago. And it was basically like, okay, the Philadelphia Eagles did all their homework, they got all their necessary information, and they were comfortable with moving forward with drafting him in the first round, like I was saying. And even during his NFL career thus far, even though he's only been in the league for a few years, he's had some of his run-ins in a way on the field, like getting into it with other players, maybe fighting a little bit, maybe throwing punches here and there. I get that the game is physical, a lot of emotion. They're competing out there, but sometimes just doing all the extra and fighting and everything isn't just really necessary, in my opinion, depending on what it is. But he's a good player, but I just think it's wrong. It's wrong. I was just so surprised by that, and commentators were surprised by it. I'm sure fans were surprised by it, and people on social media are going crazy, saying a whole lot of things about it and giving their reactions to it, and saying a lot of negative things about Jalen Carter. And they were saying negative things about Jalen Carter as a player, but they were also saying negative things about Jalen Carter as a person too. I don't know Jalen Carter. Maybe I'll meet him one day. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. I've been around a good amount of professional athletes, and I've worked in that sports media space. So maybe I'll meet Jalen Carter one day. But I don't know Jalen Carter, and I haven't met Jalen Carter. So I can't really speak too much of the person that he is, because I don't really know the person that much. I think people really go off of what they see in the media or what they hear in the media and what they see online, they can see other people saying. But I say that to say this because I wanted to bring this up. I was on TikTok watching some TikToks just about sports and whatnot, and they had a meet and greet. And Jalen Carter was at the meet and greet, and he was talking to fans, signing autographs, taking pictures, and everything. And I was reading one of the comments or some of the comments, and they were like, "Yeah, I was there. I got a picture with Jalen Carter, or I got an autograph from Jalen Carter. He was really nice. He seemed really down to earth. He was really cool." And stuff like that. And other people were saying, "Yeah, he signed my autograph too, or he took a picture with me too. He seems really cool." And I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is cool. I'm sure he is probably down to earth. Seems like a cool dude, but nobody's perfect, and I'm not excusing his behavior because again, that was wrong. And like I was saying before, you can be a fan of something or someone or artist, musician, pro athlete, whatever, and can still point out when they're wrong. When they're wrong, you know. And it's like this. It's even better when the people who are wrong can admit that they're wrong and commit to getting better. Like, hey, I messed up. I was wrong. And this is how I'm going to go about getting better. Taking that accountability. But, nobody's perfect, like I was saying, but it's just ridiculous. And other than him being ejected from the game, I heard on social media, or I saw on social media, and they were talking about it on the broadcast, saying that he could also potentially be suspended for a game or two, or just be suspended from the NFL. I'm not sure how many games, but he could be suspended also, facing more punishment from the league other than just being ejected from the game. So it's just not a good sign of leadership, but I'm sure Jalen Carter will learn from it. But again, he's had a few run-ins on the field in his NFL career. He's only been in the league for a few years, and he's had a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but he's had a good bit of mess out there on the field. So it's not good, kind of doing too much. And then with the referees, they were saying on the broadcast that they're really starting to crack down on all the taunting. Nolan Smith Jr. tackled a running back or a receiver or something, and kind of flexed up like, yeah, yeah, and then threw the flag. And they're like, what's the flag for? And they're like, nope. You got in the dude's face, or you went up toward him flexing after the tackle. They're like, nope. They're really cracking down on that. And with this Eagles and Cowboys matchup, it has been really chippy also. So they got really chippy, and it's just been a lot. But yeah, that's my take on it. I think Jalen Carter was wrong. He'll learn from it, but you can't have that. Poor sign of leadership, because the team needs you. The defense needs you. And if you've been keeping up with the box score, at least for the first half of the game, or first half and a little bit of the second half, because again, it was in a rain delay. It should be back on. They should be back playing at like 11:30 or something like that. But him not being out there hurt their defense. So it was selfishness. You got to think about the team rather than just you. And an example of that, I think his name is Blankenship. Reed Blankenship, the safety for the Eagles. I think he was going at it with George Pickens or something. I don't know if George pushed him after the play or whatever, but Reed didn't react. He got up and he was like, "What the heck?" And the ref threw the flag on George Pickens, because usually it's like, well, it's the second person who always gets the flag, not the initial person who starts something a lot of times in the league, so, or in football in general. But the team needs you. You got to think about more than yourself. You got to think about the team, especially when you're out there on the field. But yeah, that's my take on it. But again, I'm sure Jalen Carter will get better, and that's that. So now the rest of the defense has to pick up the slack for the rest of the game. The score is currently Eagles 24, Dallas 20. So they should be playing in a few minutes, but that's my reaction to it. So it'll be interesting to see what the NFL does, what the league does as far as punishment goes, and see. I'm sure he'll be fine, but I don't know if he'll be suspended a game or two. But it's just really disappointing. But that's that. That's all I really gotta say about it. But appreciate y'all. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BJT_era. Be sure to subscribe, all that good stuff. And like I always say, hope you have a good one. Peace out. Really quick, I did just get some new information about the Jalen Carter, Dak Prescott incident in their week 1 matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm watching the broadcast, and the game just started back. It's like 11:30 p.m. And I know I ended the video, but I know I did my outro and kind of ended the video, but I wanted to give some more information because I got some more information. But so before the whole spit thing happened, I just want to reiterate on this again. Dak Prescott and Jalen Carter were kind of talking trash with each other. Dak was in the offensive huddle, and Jalen is near the line of scrimmage, and they're sort of talking back and forth, whatever. And they're in the huddle, and the linemen are around the huddle. If y'all look it up online, you'll see the video of the game, and you'll see that happen. But Dak was in the huddle, and the offensive linemen are right here, and Dak walks up to the offensive lineman and kind of in between them, and Jalen Carter is a few yards away from them, and then Dak spits on the ground. Dak spits on the ground, and then Jalen says something. Jalen Carter says something, and they're going back and forth. And Dak is like, and Dak gets out of the way of the offensive lineman and walks toward Jalen Carter, and they start talking back and forth, and then Jalen Carter spit on him. So, but yeah, so I guess that's what's kind of started it a bit more. That's some more context, but I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that too. So, but yeah, just crazy stuff. But that's that. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comments. Peace out.